Today we're going to take a minute and do a deeper dive into Damion Ratley. Let's Talk Lions. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Let's Talk Lions. Thank you for liking, thank you for commenting, but most of all, thank you for subscribing and sharing this channel with your friends that are also Detroit Lions fans. You guys have brought me this far. You have carried me to where we are today, and you're going to continue to carry me forward, and I can't thank you enough for it, other than saying thank you. Now, the Detroit Lions signed Damion Ratley about a week and a half ago, and really filling out our wide receiver core. At this point, with Damion Ratley, Perriman, Williams, Kalif Raymond, and Quintez Cephus coming back, not to mention Geronimo Allison, it seems to me that our wide receiver core is pretty set. There is the possibility that we draft a top-tier wide receiver in the first round. I doubt it, because Micah Parsons is there and most likely will be available at 7, and I do believe that's where we're going, but that's not what this video is about. No, today is about Damion Ratley, and so I want to do a deep dive into really who he is, some of his background info, what he offers the Detroit Lions. Most recently, Ratley played with the Giants. Yes, he was technically with Houston, however, he didn't play any games with Houston. His most recent play was with the New York Giants, but before that, it was with the Cleveland Browns. He was drafted back in 2018 in the 6th round by the Cleveland Browns. He played in Cleveland through 2019, and in 2020, that is when he made his way to the New York Giants. He only played 5 games with them. He ended up getting waived by the Giants. Houston picks him up. He never plays. That's the end of his story until this year. Looking at his career stats, he has played a total of 31 games in the NFL. He's 29 for 54 receptions to attempts, which is about a 54% reception percentage. He's put up a total of 407 yards, roughly 14 yards per reception, which is actually really good. And he has a total of 1 TD. Now, looking at Damion Ratley, looking at our entire wide receiver core, something that we've talked about with every other wide receiver signing is obviously we are going for speed and for separation. And Ratley has that. Back on his pro day in 2018, he ran a 4.39. Really, when you look at Ratley, what he poses is a huge threat for the deep ball. Also in the slot, but very specifically looking at him with the deep ball. He does remind me of Marvin Hall. If you do not believe me, then please listen to my man, Quincy Carrier. For those of you who do not know Quincy Carrier, he is a Cleveland Browns YouTuber. Incredible dude. Has incredible content, very knowledgeable, definitely worth subbing to. Please check out his link in the description. Quincy really gave me my first break in the YouTube game by having me come on his show when we released Marvin Hall and the Browns picked him up. So now it only feels right to have him on and tell us about a guy who is very similar to what Marvin Hall had as a skill set. Without any further ado, Quincy Carrier.
Hey, what's up? Let's Talk Lions. This is Quincy Carrier from youtube.com/Quincy Carrier. I cover the NFL, but I mainly talk about the Browns on my channel. And it's interesting. Last time I had you on, we were talking about Marvin Deep Ball Hall. And now I'm on to talk to you about Damion Ratley. Why that is interesting is that I think Damion Ratley, in a lot of ways, is a younger version of Marvin Deep Ball Hall. Now, Damion is a outside receiver. He did not get a lot of playing time in Cleveland because he was behind Odell and Jarvis, but mainly Odell in that wide receiver role when he was in Cleveland. And his thing is that he is very athletic. He is a 4-3, a legitimate 4-3 guy. There's a game against the New York Jets where Odell scores like a 70-yard touchdown. Running right alongside him is Damion Ratley. He actually outpaced him, so he is legitimately fast. He's more of a prospect than a completed player, though, at this point, right? He's somebody you can develop into a deep threat. He's somebody who, if in right hands, can be developed into the next version of Marvin Deep Ball Hall. He just didn't really get a lot of time in Cleveland because, well, the Browns kind of transition out of rebuilding and also kind of transition out of having the need for a guy like Damian Ratley, since they did have Odell, since they did have Jarvis, and they drafted Donovan Peoples-Jones. So he's a good young prospect. I don't think you should expect him to be a 1 or 2 receiver anytime soon, but he's somebody who could be a nice utility guy, a nice backup wide receiver or X receiver, somebody who can definitely spread the field if given the opportunity to. But speaking of opportunities, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come onto your channel. Thank you for having me on. Again, if you want to subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/Quincy Carrier. Now back to you.
Thank you, Quincy. I appreciate all of your knowledge. I know everybody here at Let's Talk Lions also does appreciate it. That is awesome to hear, all regarding Damian Ratley. So we know that Ratley's here to impose the threat of his speed and also his capabilities with the deep ball. Honestly, looking at this wide receiver core now, with Jared Goff, I do foresee a lot of really, really great things coming down the pipeline. Let me just say this, stats aren't everything on paper. Yes, they do tell us a lot, but they do not tell you everything. You might look and be like, oh, it's only a 54% reception percentage. He's only getting tossed the ball 4 to 6 times in a game. That's not enough. Those things I understand you have to take into account, but they are not everything. His speed, his youthfulness, all of it accounts for what we're doing on this new wide receiver core. And quite frankly, I can't wait to see it put into action. You know, this season's going to be wild. They obviously just added a 17th game. We will be playing the Broncos. All in all, it's going to be fascinating watching how our wide receiver core does and how they really work with Jared Goff. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys that have a lot of speed, that have a lot of separation, how they perform with Goff. How do you all feel about our wide receiver core as a whole? Not just Ratley, but as a whole. Is it something that you're looking forward to seeing in action? Are you more scared than anything? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading it. And as always, I'll catch you next time on Let's Talk Lions.